So today we discuss synovial joint in details. Yesterday we discussed the joints, its classification, and other type of joints we have completed. So synovial joint, it is the most freely movable joints. अच्छा ये साउंडটা কম করো না একটু সাউন্ডটা Okay, so synovial joints are the most freely movable joints and they are often termed as the diarthroidal joints. This is included within the functional classification. Three types of functional classification we have learned. So synovial joint is included in diarthroidal type of joint. The site of junction or union of two or more bones of the body occurs at this region of the synovial joint, and its primary function is to provide motion and flexibility to the frame of the body. The synovial joint, it possesses articular ends of bones enclosed in so-called fibrous capsule and forming a cavity called the joint cavity, which is filled with the synovial fluid. Now these are the different types of the synovial joints. 7 types: plain, hinge, pivot, condylar, ellipsoid, saddle, and ball and socket type of synovial joints. Here you can see the different examples. See here, pivot joint is present at the atlanto-occipital joint, the joint occurring between the first two cervical vertebrae, atlas and the axis. Ball and socket type of joint present at the shoulder joint. Hinge joint example is the elbow joint. Ellipsoid joint is present at the wrist joint. Saddle type of joint is present at the first carpometacarpal joint between the trapezium and the first metacarpal. And gliding joint is present in the foot region. Okay. So now we will discuss the features of the synovial joints. The articular surfaces are covered by a thin plate of articular hyaline cartilage, and the cavity of the joint is lined everywhere by the synovial membrane except over the articular cartilage. See here, this is one picture of synovial joint. Okay, you practice a schematic diagram like this because synovial joint can come as a short note or part of a long question. Describe synovial joints like this. So this is two ends of the bone taking part in formation of this synovial joint, and the two ends are covered by articular hyaline cartilage. This is the joint cavity. You can see the joint cavity is lined by the synovial membrane. So this is synovial membrane, this green portion, and it is filled with a fluid. That fluid is known as the synovial fluid. Light yellow colored fluid you can see. So this is synovial fluid, and this articular cavity, or joint cavity, it is enclosed by one articular capsule. This is the articular capsule. Articular capsule is formed by outer fibrous layer and inner synovial membrane, and this synovial membrane helps in secretion of this synovial fluid. Okay. So these two are together forming the articular capsule, the fibrous layer and the synovial membrane. These two are together forming the articular capsule. Okay, and these are the ligaments. Ligaments are lying outside the articular capsule. Ligaments are again of two types of ligaments are present. True ligament, false ligament. They strengthen the joint and helps in restriction of any unwanted movements in the joint. And this is periosteum, is the outer covering of the bone. So between the articular surfaces there is a joint cavity filled with synovial fluid secreted by the synovial membrane and which provides lubrication of the articular surfaces and nutrition to the articular cartilage. The joint is surrounded by articular capsule, fibrous capsule along with the synovial membrane. It forms the articular capsule. কোথা থেকে আসছে আওয়াজ? অন্য ডিপার্টমেন্ট? আচ্ছা। Okay, so this is a picture of synovial joint. You can see two ends of the bone covered by articular hyaline cartilage. This is the joint cavity filled with synovial fluid and this membranous covering. This membrane is the synovial membrane. Okay, this blue colored one, and outside it there is the fibrous capsule. Fibrous capsule is blending with the periosteum. Okay, outside covering of the bone. So these two are forming the articular capsule or joint capsule. The synovial membrane and fibrous capsule together forming the articular capsule or joint capsule. And you can see here the blood vessels and nerves are supplying this fibrous capsule and the synovial membrane. And here you can see one tendon. Tendon is going to insert into the bone and tendon is covered by one tendon sheath. Tendon sheath is extension of this synovial cavity. Synovial membrane and its some synovial fluids are also present. Yesterday we have learned content of the bicipital groove, long head of the biceps brachii along with the synovial sheath. That synovial sheath was extension from the shoulder joint. Like this, here it has been shown in this picture. And this is bursa. Bursa is extension of this synovial cavity and which prevent friction between two bones or prevent friction between bone and muscle or like this. Okay, it provides a cushioning effect. So that is one picture of the bursa. Okay, so these are the components of synovial joint. The joint hobe, membrane hobe na. Okay. So it consists of these following components: fibrous capsule, synovial membrane, articular cartilage, articular disc or meniscus, ligaments and bursa. These are the components of one synovial joint. And also fatty pads are included. These are present in knee joint or also in hip joint. Fat pads are also present somewhere. And bursas are flattened sacs that contain the synovial fluid and it function to reduce the friction, cushioning effect maybe. See here another bursa has been shown. This is subacromial bursa, okay, lying below the acromial process, preventing friction between the supraspinatus and the subacromial acromial process. Here long head of biceps brachii has been shown. See, this synovial membrane is extending along with the tendon to prevent friction. Okay, here tendon sheath, it is forming a tendon sheath here. So now we will discuss the individual parts in details forming the synovial joints. So first is the fibrous capsule. It is a protective layer of dense white connective tissue that covers the ends of the articulating bones and it completely encloses the cavity. It is lined on its inner aspect by the synovial membrane. Fibrous capsule along with the synovial membrane forms the articular capsule. All these you have seen. What are the function? It stabilizes the joint, permits the movement but resists the dislocation of joint. It is richly supplied by nerves, so sensitive to stretches and produce reflex contraction of muscles acting on the joint in such a way that joint is brought in position of maximum comfort to protect the joint, and this is known as watchdog action of the capsule. Next we go to the synovial membrane. Synovial membrane, it lies just inside the fibrous capsule. We have seen in the previous picture, lining the whole of the joint cavity. So it is a thin, highly vascular membrane of connective tissue lining the whole interior of the joint except the articular surfaces. What are the function of synovial membrane? It produces synovial fluid which is slimy, viscous like an egg white, and which lubricates the joint and nourishes the articular cartilage. Now, next we go to the articular cartilage, articular hyaline cartilage, and it is avascular, non-nervous and elastic. Type of cartilage is important. This articular cartilage is hyaline type of cartilage. Three types of cartilage are present in our body, so it is hyaline cartilage. Another two are elastic and fibrous cartilage, okay, fibrocartilage. Articular cartilage, it is made up of hyaline cartilage, it is avascular and non-nervous and elastic, and function, it provides smooth friction, free movements and resists the compression forces against the two ends of the bone. Meniscus. Meniscus is not present in all the synovial joints, but in some joints they are present. So meniscus, these are the pads of fibrocartilage. See here, articular cartilage was hyaline cartilage, but this meniscus is fibrocartilage, another type of cartilage. Okay. So these are the pads of fibrocartilage interposed between the articular surfaces of some joints. And examples where the meniscus is present, these are important because very frequent spaces we have this menisci. You remember the names of the joints which have this menisci, important for your Viva, MCQ, like this. Okay. So examples are the temporomandibular joint, sternoclavicular joint, inferior radioulnar joint and knee joints. These are the positions where the menisci are present. Menisci means cartilaginous disc. What are the function? It helps in lubrication, divides the joint completely into two compartments and prevents wear and tear of the articular cartilage by providing cushioning effect. Okay, so these are the functions of the meniscus. Next component is the ligaments. So these are the thickened bands of collagen fibers, ligaments. Two types of ligaments are present in our joints, true ligaments and accessory ligaments. True ligaments, they thickens the fibrous capsule and are not separate from the capsule. They mainly fuses with the capsule, and they are also called intrinsic ligaments. What are the functions? They permit the movement in one plane and prevent unwanted movements in other planes. Okay, this is main function of true ligament. Next, they also stabilize the joint, another function of ligament. Next, we go to accessory ligament. They are separate from the fibrous capsule and may be extracapsular or intracapsular. Extracapsular means located within the fibrous capsule, and intracapsular means within the capsule, extracapsular means outside the capsule. Okay. So what are the functions? They provide additional reinforcement to the joint and limit the range of movement in different joints during the movements. Next we go to the bursa. What is a bursa? They are pouch-like sacs of connective tissue filled with synovial fluid found near certain synovial joint. We have seen bursa in those pictures, subacromial bursa and further suprapatellar bursa, like this. These are the examples of bursa. Location where it mainly reduces friction of one structure moving over the other and provides cushioning effect. So it lies in these locations. So between the tendon and bone, between the muscle and bone, between skin and bone, and between tendon and skin. In all those areas, it may be present and it prevents friction. These are the types of joints we have seen. So now we will discuss the individual types of joints in details. Okay, different types of synovial joints. First is the plain synovial joint. The articular surfaces are flat and movement occurs in these joints are sliding, gliding movements. These are translation movements in various direction. Examples are the intercarpal joints and intertarsal joints. Intercarpal joints are lying in between the carpal bones of the hand, and intertarsal joints are lying in the foot, in between the tarsal bones. Okay, so here in between the carpal bones, intercarpal joints are present. These are plain type of joint. So articular surface are flat, permitting gliding movements in various directions. These are the examples. Intercarpal, intertarsal joints, joints between articular processes of adjacent vertebra. In the vertebra, there are superior and inferior articular processes to articulate with the neighboring vertebra, and these joints formed between these articular processes are plain type of synovial joint. See here, foot has been shown. These are the tarsal bones. This is talus, calcaneum. This is navicular. Okay, and these are the three cuneiforms, cuboid, like this. So in between these bones, these joints are forming. These are plain type of synovial joints. Next we go to the hinge joint. Hinge joint, articular surfaces are pulley separated in hinge joint and have strong collateral ligaments. Example is elbow joint, ankle joint and interphalangeal joints, and movement occurs in one plane around the transverse axis. See, in this elbow joint, movement occurring against the along the transverse axis, flexion and extension can occur, but side to side movements is not occurring in this joint. This movement are occurring in shoulder joint. Okay, adduction and abduction, rotation movements mainly. So these movements are prevented by those ligaments. So hinge joint, articular surfaces are pulley separate like this, and this type of joint permits movement in one plane around the transverse axis, and the movement consists of flexion and extension. We have seen this articulation between trochlea of the humerus and the trochlear notch of the ulna. Here elbow joint is formed and only flexion extension occurring in this joint. So joints have strong collateral ligaments to prevent other movements. Two examples are elbow joint, knee joint, interphalangeal joint, ankle joint. These are the examples. See here, this is elbow joint has been shown. This is upper end of the ulna, coronoid process, olecranon process forming the trochlear notch, and here is the lower end of humerus. Trochlea is articulating here. See, this is the movement has been shown, flexion and extension, okay, occurring around one transverse axis. Now we go to pivot joint. Okay, pivot joint, articulating surfaces comprise of a central bony pivot and surrounded by osteoligamentous ring. What are the examples? Superior and inferior radioulnar joints and median atlantoaxial joint. These are the examples of pivot joints. See here, this is superior radioulnar joint occurring between the head of the radius and the radial notch of the ulna at the upper end of the ulna. Articular surfaces of one bone is rounded, head of the radius is rounded and fits into concavity of another bone. Concavity of ulna, it is fitting in. Further rounded part is surrounded by ligamentous ring. Here it is surrounded by ligamentous ring. See, this is head of radius and this is the ligamentous ring, annular ligament attached at two ends of the radial notch of ulna, forming osteoligamentous ring, and this is the pivot formed by head of the radius. So, movement is limited to rotation around a central axis. Around this vertical axis only rotation occurs. Example of these joints between the proximal end of radius ulna, atlantoaxial joint. Atlantoaxial joint is like this. This pivot is formed by the odontoid process of the axis, and this ring is formed by the ligament and anterior arch of the atlas. Okay. See, this is pivot type of joint. It looks like this. One midline bony pivot and surrounding osteoligamentous ring. Next we go to condylar joints. Articular surface include two distinct condyles fitting into reciprocally concave surface. Movement occurring in one plane around a transverse axis but partially in other plane around a vertical axis. Examples are the knee joint and right and left jaw joint. Okay. In jaw joint, lower jaw movement occurring in up and down, upward and downward movement. Main movement is this, but some side to side movement can also occur. Okay. So, up and down movement is occurring around a transverse axis and side to side movement is occurring around a vertical axis. For knee also some rotation occurs around vertical axis and flexion extension occurs around the transverse axis. Okay. So, here temporomandibular joint has been shown. Here the movement of jaw is occurring. So, the round articular surface of one bone fits into socket-like articular surface of other bone, and the end of bone bearing round articular surface is called condyle. This is condyle of the mandible, and this joint permits movement in two directions. Examples: right and left temporomandibular joint and knee joint. See here, knee joint has been shown. These are the condyles and these are the sockets at the upper end of the tibia. Condyles of the femur articulating with the condyles of the tibia. Okay, forming knee joint. Next we go to the ellipsoid joints. Ellipsoid joints articular surfaces include oval, convex surface fitting into elliptical concave surface. Free movements are permitted around both axes, around transverse axis, flexion and extension occurring, and anteroposterior axis, adduction and abduction is occurring. And combination of all these movements are called circumduction. Combination of flexion, extension, adduction, abduction is called circumduction. Example is wrist joint, metacarpophalangeal joint, and atlanto-occipital joint. This is occurring between occipital bone here and with the first cervical vertebra, atlas. And wrist joint, you can see this is wrist joint, movement is occurring, flexion, extension occurring around transverse axis. Then adduction and abduction occurring around the anteroposterior axis. Okay, and combination of this you can rotate it like this, so that will be the circumduction. So, ellipsoid joint, elliptical convex surface. Here is the elliptical convex surface of one bone articulates with elliptical concave surface of other bone. Movements are permitted in two directions. Examples are wrist joint, atlanto-occipital joint, metacarpophalangeal joint, metatarsophalangeal joint. Okay, this is elliptical surface and this is the socket for this convex articular surface. See here, socket is formed by this lower end of the radius, okay, and the articular disc connecting the radius and ulna, this small articular disc. This is inferior radioulnar joint, and this convex elliptical portion, it is formed by the carpal bones, okay, scaphoid, lunate and trapezium. All these are together forming this convex elliptical portion. Okay, understood. In wrist joint, example of elliptical joint, convex surface is formed by the carpal bones and concave surface is radius and articular disc at lower end of the ulna. Okay, lower end of ulna is not directly taking part in this formation of joint. And here you can see the metacarpophalangeal joint, here metacarpal and proximal phalanx. Okay. Here also elliptical joint is present. Next we go to the saddle joint. Saddle joint articular surfaces are reciprocally concavo-convex. This point is important. Articular surface is concavo-convex in saddle joint. Movement is similar to elliptical joint. In elliptical, the articular surfaces, one is convex, one is concave. But here concavo-convex and reciprocally curved. So with addition of some rotation around third axis. So here also it movement occurs in two axis, around two axis. So examples are first carpometacarpal joint, here in your hand, first carpometacarpal joint, and sternoclavicular joint, here sternoclavicular joint you have learned, and calcaneo-cuboid joint, this is lying between the tarsal bones of foot, calcaneum and cuboid. So saddle joint, here it has been shown between the trapezium and first metacarpal of thumb. So saddle joint articular surfaces are reciprocally saddle surface, that is concavo-convex, and the unique articulation is modified condylar joint that allows a wide range of movement. An example would be the joint between trapezium and metatarsal bones of the thumb. Another is sternoclavicular joint. See here, first carpometacarpal joint between trapezium and first metacarpal. Here you can see the articulating surfaces are concavo-convex and other surface is reciprocating with the previous surface. Okay, this is also concavo-convex but reciprocating and articulating with the other surface. Next we go to the ball and socket type of joint. Articular surface include globular head fitting into the cup-shaped socket. Movement occurs in all axes. Here around 3 axes movements are occurring, transverse axis, vertical axis, antero-posterior axis. In all the axes movements are occurring with one common center. Examples are the shoulder joint and hip joint. Okay. Here hip joint has been shown. Ball is formed by head of the femur, socket is formed by the acetabular cavity, and in shoulder joint ball is formed by head of the humerus, socket is formed by the glenoid cavity. Okay, and also the glenoidal labrum. Glenoidal labrum is attached at the margin of the glenoid cavity to deepen the cavity. So ball and socket type of joint consists of a bone with a ball-shaped head that attaches with the cup-shaped cavity of another bone. This type of joint allows a wide range of motion than any other kind, and it permits movement in all planes, and a rotational movement can also occur around a central axis, that is vertical axis. Okay, so in shoulder joint, this is flexion, this will be the extension. Here is the adduction, abduction. This is medial rotation and lateral rotation. So flexion and extension occurring around the transverse axis. Okay, abduction and abduction is occurring around the antero-posterior axis, and rotation, medial rotation and lateral rotation, it is occurring around the vertical axis. And it can also occur circumduction. Okay, circumduction is combination of all these movements. Okay, so It permits movement in all the planes and a rotational movement occur around a central axis. And two examples of this type of joint is hip joint, shoulder joint. Another one is incudostapedial joint lying in the middle ear. We have discussed yesterday between incus and stapes. So these are the schematic presentation of different joints. Plane joint, two surfaces are plane. Hinge joint, one is rounded, one is concave. Then ball and socket type of joint, ball shaped head and socket is formed by another bone. Ellipsoid joint, one is convex elliptical surface and another is concave surface lodging this elliptical surface. Pivot joint, midline bony pivot surrounded by a osteoligamentous ring. Saddle joint formed by the concave or convex surface reciprocating with each other. Okay, so plane joint is present in between the articular processes of vertebra. Hinge joint at the elbow joint, ball and socket shoulder joint. Ellipsoid is the between the occipital bone and the atlas. Here pivot joint, superior radioulnar joint, saddle joint between trapezium and first metacarpal. Okay, so you have to remember the names and their examples. Okay. These are the different types of joints and their examples. We have discussed the examples. See here, gliding joint or plane joint, acromioclavicular and sternoclavicular joint, intercarpal, intertarsal, vertebrocostal joints, sacroiliac joint, hinge joint, elbow, knee, ankle, interphalangeal. Pivot is between atlas and axis, proximal radioulnar. Ellipsoid, radiocarpal, radiocarpal mean wrist joint. Are metacarpophalangeal joints 2 to 5 and metatarsophalangeal joints. Saddle is first carpometacarpal joint, ball and socket, shoulder and hip. Next we go to blood supply of the synovial joint. Periarticular arterial plexuses, also known as circulus articularis vasculosus. It is supplying the capsule of the synovial joint. Articular cartilage is avascular. Okay, it does not have any blood supply and receives nutrition via diffusion from the synovial fluid. And fibrous capsule and ligaments have poor blood supply. Synovial membrane is rich in blood supply. Okay. The articular and epiphyseal branches gives off neighboring arteries and form the periarticular arterial plexuses. Vessels from these plexuses, see here, these are the arteries supplying and they are giving branch to the joint also. And the branch to the joint, they are anastomosing with each other and forming a periarticular plexus. So vessel from this plexus pierce the fibrous capsule and form a rich vascular plexus in the synovial membrane. The vessels of synovial membrane terminate around the articular margin in fringe of looped anastomosis called circulus vasculosus, and it supply the capsule, synovial membrane and the epiphysis. So this is the blood supply. Next we go to the nerve supply. Capsule and ligament have rich nerve supply. Synovial membrane has poor nerve supply. Okay, that's why if injury occurs in the capsule and ligaments, there will be pain. But if injury occurs in synovial membrane, there will be no or less pain. Okay, because it is poor in nerve supply. Articular cartilage is totally insensitive. This is articular cartilage and hyaline cartilage. Types of nerve fibers which are supplying the joints are the sensory or proprioceptive fibers. Sensory to position movement. Okay, position, it senses the position of the joint, whether it is in flexed position or extended position or adducted or abducted position. That sense is carried by these sensory fibers. It controls the reflex of posture and locomotion. And autonomic supply, Autonomic nerves are vasomotor. They are supplying the blood vessels, supplying the joints. This functional classification you have read previously: synarthrosis, amphiarthrosis, diarthrosis, and synovial joints are diarthroidal type of joints. This classification also you have read. Synovial joints are mainly simple, compound and complex according to the number of joint. Simple joint classification according to the number of the articulating bones. Simple joint, 2 articulation surfaces like shoulder joint, hip joint. Compound joint, 3 or more articular surfaces. Example is radiocarpal joint. Complex joint, 3 or more articular surfaces and articular disc or meniscus is present. That is example of knee joint. Here articular disc is present, meniscus. Okay, so that is important. In compound, 3 or more articular surface, complex, meniscus or articular disc is present. That point is important. Okay, now these are some terminology. It's sometimes used. So you know the terminology, just know. So human kinesiology, study of geometry of surfaces and their associated movement. Here used male surface and female surface. Male surface is larger surface area is called male surface and it is convex in all direction. Female surface smaller and concave surface in all direction. Simple joints have 2 articulating surface. Compound joints more than 1 pair of articulating surfaces. And degrees of freedom. What is degrees of freedom? Number of axes at which in joint can move. Different axis, movement at different axis. More joint movement occurs in more axis, there is more degree of freedom. Okay. And translation, what is translation movement? It occurring in plane type of joints, sliding movements in one articulating surfaces over the other. Okay. Okay, male surface and female surface is representing convex and this is concave. Okay, so that's all. So for synovial joint, to prepare a long question, structure of a synovial joint, prepare a schematic diagram to practice of synovial joint and different components forming the synovial joint. Okay, and types of joint, different types of synovial joints. Okay, with this example.